guys, it's Emily. So today's girl talk is going to be relationships, and pretty much what I'm going to be doing in this girl talk is answering some of your guys' questions that you guys asked me on my Instagram, and pretty much we're going to talk about it, we're going to discuss it, we're going to be open and honest and raw. And I never realized I never did a girl talk about relationships, so I'm kind of excited to get into this girl talk. This is going to be an interesting one, so I hope you guys enjoy. Give this video a fat thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to always be notified with my videos. Comment what you guys think of this girl talk, and let me know down in the comments more topics you guys want me to cover, and I will get it done. But without further ado, let's get this started. Okay guys, so girl talk about relationships. So pretty much what this girl talk is going to be like a Q&A girl talk about relationships and answering your guys' question and giving you guys my advice and pretty much being open and honest. I love to be honest with you guys and give you guys my best advice and knowledge. So let's get this started. I did get a bunch of questions, so bear with me, people. So let's go to the first one. Okay, perfect. So the first question. Okay. The first question, is it okay or realistic to be picky and wait for the one? Honestly, it is okay to be picky and wait for the one. That just means that your standards are up and you're not going to lower your standards for a guy. Like, it is okay to break down your walls, but you also got to think about yourself and like what situations you've put yourself in the past with past relationships. And you also got to think about what you want to bring new into this new relationship. And sometimes waiting for the one is better because sometimes they come in a mysterious way where, like, waiting for the one, you don't always have to be the one looking, for that guy or that girl. Like, sometimes it's okay for somebody to come to you because that just, like, if somebody's, like, really interested in you and you wait and patiently and you focus on yourself, you're just gonna, like, find a better you, whatever you're working on about yourself, instead of, like, thinking about, like, lowering your standards, doing this, like changing things about like what happened in your last relationship and putting like old habits into the new relationship. Because sometimes you don't realize when you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, you come to discover that you don't have to put those old habits that you did in your old relationship into your new relationship. So it is great to wait for the one. Honestly, I've waited. I was actually the one that went after my boyfriend Matt, and I took my long shot, and that's okay too if you, take your shot, and it's okay if they don't feel the same. But waiting for the one will definitely, you'll find new discoveries about yourself, and like, it's good for like self-love also, because if you just got out of a relationship, then you should definitely be waiting for the next person to come your way. Don't always be the one that's just going to jump when somebody just slides into your DM. Make sure you get to know them and things like that before jumping into like anything further so you don't make past mistakes. Okay, next question. Is sex important in a relationship? Honestly, I definitely feel like it's an important thing in the relationship because honestly, like, it's not just about the verbal, it's not just about the emotional, it's also about the physical, if they're physically attracted to you. And honestly, that doesn't matter. Like, looks obviously doesn't matter, which I'm so grateful for my boyfriend. He doesn't care about, like, looks. He's always, like, looked at me as, like, more for my personality. So, sex is important because, you get to, like, I guess explore more with your partner. And, like, you get to see what, like, type of person they are on that level. And, the physical love, if that makes sense. Like, you get to see, like, what type of, like, physical person they are when doing those things with you. And it's also about like making sure that, not making sure, but like, they could definitely help you like get out of those like insecurities. So that was like a big thing with me, like where I was like very insecure and like things like that when I first like did those type of things. And I didn't realize like how important it is for a person to like see that part of you, because it's just a whole thing and a part of the relationship also that, obviously that's important. It's as much as the other things are important, like going on dates and things like that, like everything along with that is important. So definitely that type of thing is important in relationships. Okay, next one. How do you feel about your boyfriend having friends that are girls? That is a really good question. Honestly, I don't mind. Okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. 100%. I am a big, big jealous person because of my own inner battles of feeling insecure and things like that. Now, there are beautiful girls in this world, but there's a lot of conniver girls where they'll try to ruin your relationship and, like, you know, be sneaky. Now, the one thing I'm going to say is definitely set boundaries for your significant other. Me and my boyfriend, we do have, you know, our boundaries and things like that. Like, we both know our friend groups and, like, who's in it. And, like, we've met each other's friends groups. So, you know, it's definitely about, like setting boundaries and things like that. Because some girls, even some guys, could be, like, you know, relationship wreckers. And personally, I don't get down like that. And I don't like when females be like that, and I know some females be like that because I've witnessed too many females be like that. So how do I feel about it though? It really depends. Like, it's kind of in the middle, because if you don't have no boundaries and no respect for one another, then, you know, and you have to feel like you're walking on eggshells in that relationship because they just want to keep, you know, disrespecting you and this and the third, you know, then definitely leave the relationship. But on my honest opinion, I think it's perfectly okay for guys to have girlfriends. Just set boundaries, let yourself be known, make sure your man lets you be known, you know. That's just what it is. Same with guys, like me having guy friends, you know, my boyfriend of course knows about my guy friends. He's talked to them and everything, and I just don't get down like that when a guy or girl tries to ruin a whole relationship. Like, it's not worth it. Like, you could try again in somebody else's relationship, but you're not going to do it in mine. Okay. Do guys get intimidated by girls who are independent? Honestly, I feel like a guy should respect a female that's independent. You know, she could handle herself. You know, it just, honestly, as me as a woman, I feel like having independence as a woman and not having to rely on a man is the most self-respect you have for yourself and the most self-love you have for yourself, because you shouldn't rely on other people. That's just not how life should work. You shouldn't rely on a man to do this for you, to your family members to do anything for you, your friends to do anything for you. If you're an independent woman and you're handling your bills, you're handling your career, you're handling schoolwork, you're handling your job, you're handling your family business, you're handling your kids, whatever the case is, it is perfectly okay. I definitely think some guys do get intimidated by this, like us females that are very independent, because we do have a strong mind. And, like, as much as, like, some independent women could be, like, stubborn about, let's just say, who's going to pay the bill and things like that, it's okay to go half and half. And it's okay to the female to pay for a bill. It's, like, I feel like it's weird when people, like, genderize things like, oh, females are not supposed to do this, or guys are not supposed to do this in a relationship. Like, it's okay to go half and half on a bill, or it's okay to pay for the bill if the person don't have enough money. And it doesn't make the man less of a man, and it doesn't make a woman less of a woman. So I feel like both independent men and independent women is an amazing thing and a very powerful relationship. And I don't feel like men should be intimidated by women like that, but some guys are, and that's perfectly okay. Okay, next question. How do you feel if a family member don't like your significant other? Honestly, if a family member don't like your significant other, obviously, you know, family's opinions matter, but at the end of the day, it's what makes you happy and, like, what that person does, and, like, they don't know what goes on behind closed doors when it comes down to your relationship. So I definitely feel like family opinions matter, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be their decision. You shouldn't put other people's opinions in your relationship because that's gonna just be like, that's like asking the world to be in your relationship for validation. Like, is my relationship okay? You know, it's okay to get opinions about things from family members, like if you want to start having a baby and things like that, that's fine. But if you're expecting your family member to, you know, for their opinions all the time, it shouldn't be like that. And if a family member doesn't like your significant other, that doesn't mean to break up with them, honestly. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's who makes you happy, not because of one of your family members don't like them. You know, eventually they just have to get to know, and, you know, and if they still don't like them, kick rocks, because at the end of the day, if that person's making you happy, it doesn't matter what that person in your family feels, you know, because At the end of the day, it's just about your happiness and your significant other's happiness. And if your family member doesn't like that person, they eventually will have to, because that's the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and they have to just adjust and work on whatever they feel like they don't like them for. So yeah, that's my honest opinion about that. Okay, how do you keep a long distance relationship strong? Now, as you guys may know, I am in a long distance relationship. So how do I keep a long distance relationship strong with my significant other is really honestly about communication, trust, loyalty, and definitely making effort. Now, what I mean by making effort is definitely making effort to visit one another. If you're like, if it's like a one-sided relationship where one person's doing everything, doing this, doing that, and the other person's not doing their part as like a significant other, like let's just say the person travels to your house like from miles away, make them a breakfast, or just put effort into the relationship to let them know that you appreciate them enough for even traveling that far for you. Or, you know, honesty is a big thing when it comes to long distance relationships. I cannot stress that enough. If you're not honest in your long distance relationship, it is going to be a very rocky relationship. And what was the other thing I said? Communication. Communication is the key to a successful long distance relationship. Honestly, like, me and Matt did have struggles communicating because we talked so much when we got to know each other in the beginning that we kind of ran out of topics. So, like, you know, when it comes down to that, like, you know, it's okay to give one another space so that the next time you guys talk again, you guys have a bunch of things to talk about and catch up on and things like that. So I definitely think those 4 or 5 things are definitely very important to keep a long distance relationship strong. Just from my own experience. Okay, next one. How do you feel about couples getting matching tattoos? Wow, that's a good question. Okay, how do I feel about couples getting matching tattoos? So I feel like getting each other's name is a crappy tattoo, to be honest. A crappy tattoo is either with the dates or the name. If you got it like something where it's like symbolizes something between each other, but it has no like letters or like initials or names or dates, that's fine. But I feel like if you have a relationship where, like, if you have like, let's just say if I had Matt's name like right across my arm, you have to make sure you're spending the rest of your life with that person. If you're unsure, you should not get that tattoo. If you have a date that you know you're not going to last because you know what's going on in your relationship, do not get a tattoo, a matching tattoo with one another. If you get like a symbol, like let's just say like a bow, like a heart with a bow and arrow through it, that could mean anything. Nobody's going to know what that means. Obviously, you and that person knows what it means, you know, because you guys both have it. But it doesn't symbolize anything between you both. Nobody will ever know. So if you get people's names, I don't think matching tattoos like that is cute. But if you genuinely know you're spending the rest of your life with this person, you're tying the knot, and you know you're going to grow old with them, then fine, that's okay. I just personally, I've witnessed it too many times from like friends, from like family members, that they've ended it with their significant other and they've had this tattoo that's permanent, like permanent tattoo that they can't get off unless they get like the laser, and it's just not worth that pain. So I definitely think twice before you get a matching name tattoo or a number tattoo. But I definitely think if it's like an inside joke, it's definitely cute because you guys are definitely friends first before lovers. So, you know, I think meaningful tattoos like that like is perfectly okay. I don't think it's like something to stress about. Okay, next one. How do you deal with a player? How to deal with a player? Honestly, I never dated a player, so I wouldn't know. But honestly, the only thing I could say is don't deal with them. It's not worth that type of stress and struggle of like having to feel validated from a person that's just going to keep playing with your heart, playing with your feelings. It's just not worth it. Because at the end of the day, sis, you're going to find somebody that's going to love you for all of you and not you and a couple other girls. You know what I mean? You got to look at that, because if you're down like that, like if you want to be with somebody that's a player, that's up to you. But if you want a committed relationship, then do not deal with the player. Leave them. Because I can't get my freaking words out. As manipulative as they can be, you do not have to stay in that relationship with them at the end of the day. You do not have to stay in that relationship. So, but honestly, I never dealt with a player, so I wouldn't know. But that's just my honest advice. Like, I wouldn't personally deal with something like that. I want to be with somebody that's going to validate me and only me, and not me and 5 other girls. So, and that's how you catch STDs on top of that. So do not deal with a player. Okay, next question. How do you get over hurt from the past to let someone, wait, hold on, because this one's a big one. How do you get over hurt from the past to let someone else properly love you? That's a really good question. How do you get over hurt for someone else to properly love you? So the next relationship. Okay, so personally, I think the best way to get over hurt so the next person could love you properly is definitely focus on yourself and do not rush into a relationship. As many guys that slide into your DMs, that many guys that want to go on dates with you or hand you their number, think about yourself first and think about what happened in that relationship that you don't want in your next relationship. And make sure you're stronger and you love yourself even more, that whatever that person did to you, do not let them break your walls, and don't let that next person try to break your walls. So definitely, I think, work on yourself, find yourself, and don't jump into something until you're ready. If you jump into something that when you're not ready and you're hurting, and I get it, if you feel lonely, still don't make decisions like that, because you're going to make the wrong decision, and then you're just going to go, it's just like a repeating cycle. You're just going to keep going through the same thing over and over again. So definitely wait for the one to come. But also think about yourself first. Definitely work on yourself and try to find new hobbies, to self-care days. Like, that will definitely get you moving. Go shopping for yourself. That will get you moving to get over the hurt and say, I'm a bad bitch. I do not need a guy like that. I don't care what he did to me. Blase, blase, blase. Because at the end of the day, what's going to matter is you and only you. The next person is going to love you 10 times harder than the last person. What's that saying? When a stone, it's like something when a stone leaves a rock, when a man leaves a stone, the next one finds a diamond or a treasure. I don't know. There's a saying, but definitely work on yourself and focus on yourself, and do not make drastic decisions, and make sure you have a support system to be there for you. Do not deal with that type of breakup on your own. Next. Okay. Should you stay in a relationship if you got kids together? Okay, now, I feel like this is a really good question. Now, I personally don't have kids. I'm going to have them one day. But should you stay in a relationship if you have kids together? Honestly, I've witnessed this, hands down. I've witnessed people that stood in the relationship because they have multiple kids together with their partner. Now, I don't think it is okay to stay with your partner if you're unhappy, if the kids are seeing you unhappy and the father unhappy. It's just like a very toxic environment, and the kids are going to grow up thinking that's okay to stay with somebody when you're hurting, and you guys are like not communicating properly and things like that. Like, if you're staying with that person because you just have a kid together, I don't think it's really healthy for the kids and for your sake. So I definitely think it's not okay to stay in a relationship, especially when you have kids. But if you are two strong people that are willing to make changes and go to therapy, and even that sometimes doesn't even help, but if you're willing to make those changes and go on date nights and possibly fix the relationship, that could possibly fix the relationship, but sometimes it just doesn't, because that one day is not going to change what you need to make up for that time that the kids already witnessed. You know what I mean? So I definitely think you should never stay in a relationship, even though you guys have kids, and that's just me personally. I just don't think a kid should watch something like that, especially when two parents are not they love each other and they're just faking love. I don't think it's okay, because they're gonna think that in the future that's okay. Are date nights important in a relationship? Hell yes. Date nights are important in a relationship. I cannot stress that enough. If you guys, it doesn't matter what type of date night. It could be at a restaurant, arcade, amusement park, at home date. It doesn't matter. As long as you're both putting effort into the relationship for date nights, your relationship is going to be strong as hell. And it doesn't always have to be like date nights where it costs money. It could be like cooking dinner together or cooking at home and watching movies. I feel like at home date nights are the cutest thing. Me and Matt love doing that. And personally, sometimes spending money is just not worth it. So if you could improvise and make like a paint night, a movie night with like cooking dinner, like crafts, what else? Like I can't think of like off the top of my head like date night ideas at home, but like definitely date nights are definitely important, whether it's going out, staying at home. You know, it's definitely it definitely helps the relationship because, you know, it will get boring if you don't go on dates with your partner. You know, you guys have to have fun, go out together, you know, things like that. That's what a relationship should be like. Okay, next question. What's the best way to introduce your partner to your parents or family? I feel like introducing your partner too soon, not that it's bad. I just personally, I waited a little bit for introducing my boyfriend to my family. Personally, I think that you shouldn't introduce your family to your boyfriend or girlfriend right away, because you want to make sure it's like a solid like over 2 year relationship, or even over 1 year. But I feel like 2 years is like the safe zone where it feels like, okay, this is the time I should introduce my family. I feel like rushing into that, like, of course you could talk to your family about your significant other and tell them, like, show them pictures and things like that. But waiting at least like a solid 1 to 2 years is perfectly okay. And introducing, I just feel like if you have strict parents, definitely let, you know, your partner know, like just kind of not like warn them, but like let them know like what type of family, like what's your family like, and like your parents are like, and like, you know, I feel like respect is the most important when it comes down to your significant other introducing themselves. I was definitely nervous the first time I introduced my dad to my significant other, because my dad is like a handshake person, and like, you know, he just like, if he sees you making his daughter happy, then that's all that matters to him. But yeah, just do it the best way. Like, you know your parents and your family best, and I feel like, you know, just wait until you know it's like a good solid relationship, so that like if you're jumping, like you're already 3 months in and you already introduced your significant other to your family, and then it starts getting rocky, it's like, how are you gonna explain that to your family type thing, you know what I mean? So definitely wait it out, but that's just me. I got hiccups. Okay. When and how do you manage your money as a couple? Honestly, I feel like managing money as a couple, like if you're living together, definitely you both should put a budget in your savings together, and like definitely like talk out like your money situation. But like as individual, I definitely feel like handling your money, like making sure one another is like doing, like not spending their money on stupid stuff, like irrelevant things that are not important. But as a couple, like living together, like the main, you should be spending your money, both of you, if you're living together, on bills, food, things like that. But definitely, I feel like having a joint bank account, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it, but at the same time, personally, I like my own bank account, and I think my significant other likes their own bank account. If that person, like if your significant other needed money that day, definitely, obviously you could give them like whatever they need, but like for lunch, if they didn't have, you know, if they don't have any more money from their pay, that's perfectly okay. But definitely like trying to help one another, like learn to save and things like that, is definitely like a good thing in a relationship too. Tips for virtual dating. Virtual dating. Okay, tips that I would give is make sure you know who the person is. Make sure they're not a catfish. Make sure they're telling all the right information. They're not giving you like false information, and you know, because some people could be very sketchy, and I watched too much of that catfish show. So definitely talk to your friends about it and ask them like how they feel about it. But obviously, like I said, you don't have to ask other people for validation for what you're doing for yourself. And definitely, like, if you were to virtually date, definitely make plans with that person to eventually meet. Okay, I think this is the last question. Yeah, that was the last question. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this girl talk, and I hope I answered some of your guys' questions and gave you guys my best advice and my honesty. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think about everything I covered today. And if you guys want me to do a part 2, let me know down in the comments also. And I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.